You know who it is, and you know what time it is. Time to piss off some feminists, trad cucks, and whoever don't want to know the truth. Oh well, let's get started. What is going on, gents? It's R.P.M. here, reporting for Mobile Command. Gentlemen, forgive me ahead of time, as this video might go longer than usual. But I must be crystal clear with my breakdown and my opinions on this topic. Got me a nice Georgia Cafe au lait, which is a very good Japanese coffee. So let's get into this. We know of the new hot topic that's being thrown around. High value man versus low value man. Now, what is the proper context that the word value is being used? Obviously, a verb. To consider someone to be important or beneficial. Beneficial being the key word. Now, when it comes to being valuable, when it comes to your job, your employer considers you valuable. Why? Because they have to cut you a check. They're actually paying you. That is the only value that you should be seeking. Anyone who is not your boss, who is saying that you're valuable to them, is someone that's looking to take from you. So now that we've got that simple explanation out the way, let's go back to essentially the beginning. Where does this start? This stems from the old alpha-beta argument. Now see, in the white manosphere, they had alpha, beta, bad boy, nice guy, and they left it alone. They still use those terms to this day. However, when it comes to the black manosphere, there is a constant need to be unique, even within the same argument. So, for the longest time, you guys remember the Pookie and Ray Ray versus educated lame argument, which later morphed into the select versus the non-select man argument. And now it is morphed into the high value man versus the low value man argument. But there is a common denominator between all of these arguments. What is that common denominator, gentlemen? Give you a few moments to think about that. Did you get it? Did you figure it out? Well, I'm going to tell you. The common denominator between the alpha beta argument and the high value man, low value man argument is this: validation via sexual access to women. At the core of all of these arguments lie what? The woman. See, none of these guys are willing to just outright say this for fear of being called the simp, which, that would be appropriate. But all in all, that is the most basic thing about the whole entire argument. Now, it's nothing more than a rehash and reskinning of the shaming tactic of you're not good enough as a man. But gentlemen, Who actually determines your value? Besides your boss, no one but you. That's right, gentlemen. Only you determine your value at the end of the day. That's it. All of your problems start and begin with you and the decisions that you make. Now, insofar as value, purpose, we talk about purpose all the time. In order for you to figure out your purpose to align with your particular values, that's something that you have to figure out for yourself. And you have to be crystal clear in what your purpose is. That way you can align your values to said purpose. Gentlemen, once you finally surrender and let go of the need of external validation, then you can become clear in what your purpose and what your values will become. Take yours truly, for example. When I was young, I wanted to follow in my father's footsteps. He retired from the Air Force. I retired from the Navy. So guess what? That was my purpose then. I completed that purpose. During that time, I wanted to be a husband and a father. And guess what? I completed that. And right now, with things going on between myself and the meat sack, that is no longer a viable purpose for me. So, in taking time to actually go through everything, take that long, hard look in the mirror, I said, well, what is my new purpose now? What am I going to spend the rest of my life doing? Guess what? I decided to become a card-carrying hedonist. Oh yeah. I'm going to spend the rest of my life, till I take my final breath, doing everything that brings me pleasure within the confines of the law and in moderation. See, there's an old acronym that we use in the military called KISS, which stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. A lot of us men are constantly kept confused. We're constantly in a cloud, in a haze. Why? Because we constantly seek external validation, which leads a lot of men to make a lot of shitty decisions about their life. You got guys working jobs that they hate, all to do what? Get external validation via women in society. Then you bring in all these other players who are constantly saying that you're not good enough. You're not valuable enough to be used. And let's make no mistake about this, gentlemen. That's exactly what this whole value argument is meant to do. Now let's look at where it's aimed. It's aimed at younger generations of men to say, listen, you need to go out there, you need to compete, and you need to eventually pick the woman or allow the woman to come to you that's going to eventually destroy you. Because make no mistake about this, gentlemen. As Hammerhand so eloquently puts the question to the public, has the laws or women changed for the better? No. So, until that happens, or until men finally just rise the hell up and say we're not going to take this anymore en masse, there is no point in competing in a system that you know does not have your best interest in mind for it. There is no point in competing. Now, am I saying that you should not live a comfortable, content, happy life? No. Which ironically is a subject or a topic that is never discussed by any of these PUAs or dating coaches or anybody of that ilk. See, they're constantly telling you that you're not good enough, but they've never asked you, listen, are you truly happy at where you are in life? Because they know if they ask you that question and you figure out, you know what? I make $50,000 a year, but I have a roof over my head. I have food in my belly. I have no debts. So actually, I'm in a real good position. They never ask you that. Why? Because they know once you figure that out, that you don't need external validation, you're going to hit them in their pockets. Hence, they need to keep the haze and the fog going. They need to keep telling these younger men, you're not good enough. Wrong. You determine whether or not you're good enough, gentlemen. Don't let the world do that. Don't let other people tell you you're not good enough. You can keep the basics and be happy with the basics. See, I'm going to say this once more. All of these arguments, all of the things that are going on is based around the woman. Whether or not the woman is willing to accept you. Wrong. Looking at how far the modern woman has fallen, any man who says, you know what, I'm tapping out of this is a smart man. That's a man that's going to keep more of his resources to himself. That's a man who's going to say, you know what, I'm going to deal with women on my terms. It doesn't matter if you make $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year. As long as you've got your shit together at whatever level you are at, you are good. So, gentlemen, do not put yourself into an early grave trying to impress or attract people who mean you no good in the long run. Hell, even in the short run, they don't mean you any good. They're coming usually with their hand out in some way, shape, or form. So yes, this idea of being high value, it's nothing more than a reskinned shaming tactic. That's it. That is it. But gentlemen, what do you think? Where does your value lie? Me, as I stated before, I am a card-carrying hedonist. My pleasure, my happiness, my value comes before everything else. And I'm the one that determines those things. Period. Point blank. Well, this video actually turned out shorter than I thought it would be. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Leave your comments in the comments section below. And ladies, the power is still metaphorically out. Feminism, even though it's against the ropes, is going to eventually go out right along with it. And I will definitely say this. You're seeking high-valued men, ladies? Here's a pro tip. Don't seek a high value man. Seek a highly skilled man. Value versus skill. Which one is more important? Well, when the lights go out, you'll figure that out real quick. R.P.M. I am